Hello everyone. So today we will be discussing about the topic risk management in information security and privacy. So the contents which we will be covering today are: what is a risk, why risk management is needed, basic definitions to understand risk management process, some overview of the risk management process, how it is done, and at the last we will summarize all the points which we have discussed. So what is a risk? So according to the ISO standard 27005, a risk is a potential that a given threat will exploit vulnerabilities affecting an asset. So the probability that a threat will exploit a vulnerability affecting an asset and the amount of impact or the degree of impact which that threat will befall on that asset is called as a risk. So a risk formula is a well-defined formula which states that, again, the impact of a threat exploiting the vulnerability affecting an asset into the likelihood or the probability of the threat actually manifesting on that asset is called as risk. Here, as we can see, the vulnerability can also be called as weakness in the security of an asset, and likelihood of a threat is the frequency with which that threat can occur. The threat itself is a potential attack or a potential aspect which can exploit the vulnerability of the asset. Then we have another terminology called as impact or consequence. That is, what is the outcome of the threat affecting the asset, or what is the consequence of the threat affecting the or exploiting the vulnerability of the asset. Then we have likelihood, that is the probability or the frequency with which the threat can occur on a system. So an example of a risk would be, suppose we have a threat called as information disclosure. That means your information leakage can happen, and suppose this threat is applicable on a particular asset. The threat, the vulnerability which can be exploited by this threat is called as lack of vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So if the VAPT test is not performed on your asset, then that is a vulnerability which can be exploited by information disclosure. Then likelihood means what is the probability with which information disclosure can occur on your asset. So for example, if you were to go to your security analyst to ask or to know about how many times SQL injection attack can occur, so your security analyst can tell you that suppose that attack may occur 10 times a day or 20 times a day. So that frequency is called as likelihood of the threat. Okay. So how do we rate the likelihood of the threat? So that depends on some industry standards or the experience of your security analysts. So they would be judging and telling you that if the frequency is such and such, for example, in an SQL attack case, if the attack happens 10 times a day, then that is rated as high likelihood. Or if the SQL attack occurs once a week, then that could be rated as medium likelihood. Then we have the impact, that is, if the threat were to actually materialize, then what would be the degree of damage caused to your asset or organization. So a financial impact greater than 10 million. So this is an example of quantitative risk assessment. Similarly, you can describe the degree of damage in terms of sentences, so that can be called as a qualitative risk assessment. So here, as we can see, the impact rating has been given as high. So this is an example of qualitative risk assessment. Now, how is risk calculated? So as we had also seen in the formula earlier, risk is calculated as impact into likelihood. So here we have both the likelihood rating as high and the impact rating is also given as high. So high into high, that means there is a high probability of a big financial loss. Then why do we need risk management? Obviously, if we want to keep track of our losses, for example, if an organization does not want to have any financial loss due to unaccounted risks, then the organization has to perform risk management to get a picture of what are the vulnerabilities and what are the threats which can affect the assets owned by that organization, so that if any attack does occur, then the losses caused by that attack can be accounted for and can be managed properly by the organization. So, in short, to avoid unwanted loss, we need to perform risk management. Now, some basic definitions to know before we go ahead with our risk management processes. First, we have our asset or process inventory. So, asset is anything which is owned by your organization. So, for example, you can have your servers, you can have your computer systems. Process is any business process which your organization performs. So, for example, your authentication process, identification process, or you can have your grievance redressal process. Any business process which your organization follows can be called as a process. So, asset or process inventory is a list of all the assets or processes which your business owns. Next, we have asset valuation, which means that all your assets and your processes would be assigned a monetary or a qualitative value. Okay. So the process of defining the value of asset, that can be in terms of money, or it can be based on our CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity and availability characteristics. Next, we have threat. This also we have discussed. Threat is any potential aspect or any potential attack which can exploit any weakness in your asset security. Then we have vulnerability, weakness in your asset security. Likelihood is how often a threat is attempted on your asset. Impact is what is the outcome or what is the result of that threat materializing on your asset. Some more definitions. Inherent risk is the risk which is naturally associated with your asset. So, for example, if you have a server, then that server could, even if it is not exposed to the internet, it can still be affected by hardware failures, and it can also be damaged by some malicious insider attacks. Okay, so that is an example of inherent risk. Then we have control assessment and control value. Control assessment means, see, when we have identified the inherent risks on our assets, we will try and put in place some preventive or mitigative measures to protect that asset from significant damage. So that is known as control. And how is that control measure performed? That control can be anything. It can be a tool, it can be a software solution, or it can be some process by which you can protect your asset. Now, how effective is that control measure is done by using control assessment. So, we perform control assessment to calculate how effective your control measures are. Then, the result of that control assessment is given is a control value. Okay. So, based on how effective your control measures are, we give it a score which is called as control value. Then we have residual risk, which is what is the amount of risk left after we have applied all our control measures on the asset. Some more definitions. These are basically the roles of people associated with your particular asset. So an asset owner is basically a person from the business end who is in charge or who owns your asset. Asset custodian these are a group of people who manage the asset for the asset owner. Then we have the risk owner who basically takes responsibility for any risks or any attacks or any damage caused to your asset. Okay, so this is going to be the person accountable for the risk. Now, in an earlier slide, we were talking about quantitative and qualitative risk assessment. So, quantitative risk assessment means the risk score would be given a monetary value typically. Qualitative risk assessment means the risk would be described in terms of sentences. And semi-quantitative is a combination of both quantitative and qualitative risk assessment. Okay, so we'll see an example of semi-quantitative. We'll see an example of all the three types of risk assessment in the next slide. So this is an example of quantitative risk assessment where this is a matrix of consequence, and likely consequence is another term for impact or outcome of your risk or your threat. Likelihood is the number of times the threat occurs on your asset. So both of these are basically given a number on a scale. In the boxes which are marked in red, so these are the monetary values which are very high risk. So if you have a loss of say $100,000, then that is to be considered as a very high risk. Then the boxes marked in orange are to be considered as high risk. Yellow means moderate risk and green means there is no risk. Okay. So again, here also we will calculate the risk score by multiplying the likelihood into consequence. Here we have an example of qualitative risk assessment. So as we can see here, the risks are described in terms of sentences. Very high risk, that is material risk, is given a color coding as red. Here we have certain description for it. Then the lesser degree, that is high risk, is given as orange, some description, and likewise we have description for each type of risk. This is an example of a semi-quantitative risk assessment where you have both a risk score and the description for each type of risk. So as you can see here, the boxes marked in red are termed as high risk and they would also be given a risk score. How would that risk score be calculated? By multiplying the impact into likelihood. So if you consider this box in the top right corner, the impact score for this box is 5 and the likelihood score for this box is 5 as well. So 5 into 5, 25. So the risk score for this box would be 25. Here we have an overview, basically a list of all the risk assessment standards. So you have NIST SP 850, ISO 27005, which was mentioned in the first slide. Then we have COBIT, Octave, and FAIR. These will be covered in a separate lecture. Now we come to overview of risk management process. So all the things which we discussed up till now were a part of risk assessment process. Risk assessment process is different from risk management process in that risk management is basically a combination of process valuation, asset and process valuation, plus the risk assessment, and we also treat the risk. So these are the portions of activities which are performed in risk management process. So risk assessment is actually a subset of risk management. So up till here, these are part of risk assessment process. So again, first we have asset and process valuation. We need to identify assets and processes. Then we need to find out what threats are applicable for our assets or processes. We also need to identify the vulnerabilities, that is the weaknesses in our systems. So in this particular case, we can again take the example of the information disclosure. Okay, so if we have an information disclosure threat, then the vulnerabilities which this threat can exploit are lack of VAPT testing, misconfiguration in our system security, and lack of timely security updates. Okay. When we further go ahead in the risk assessment process, again, see, we have to assess the impact or calculate the impact score. The likelihood determination, that means how often is that asset faced with the threat. After that, we calculate the inherent risk, that is the natural risk associated with the asset. Then we apply some control measures and evaluate the effectiveness of those control measures in control assessment phase. Then we calculate the remaining risk after the control measures have been applied. After that, up till here, see, this portion is demarcated. Up till here, we are in the risk assessment phase. After this, we go to the risk treatment phase. Now, there are different ways in which we can handle a risk. That means we can mitigate a risk. So, whenever we are faced with a risk, we can then and there apply some control measures to significantly reduce the damage, that is mitigation. Or we can transfer the risk, that means we call in some third party to handle the risk for us. Or we can take the approach of total risk avoidance, that means we never go into such scenarios where we would be faced with such risks. Or else we can accept the damage caused by the risk and handle it by some management what you can say some management policies. Okay, so these are the 4 ways in which we can treat a risk in the risk treatment phase. After this, we will appoint some people, that is the risk custodians, who are going to manage the asset and who are going to report the risks encountered and the status of the asset to the higher management. So after all this risk treatment has been done, basically an organization functions in the risk monitoring and reporting phase. Okay. So this is about risk management. To conclude, we have seen what is the definition of a risk, why do we need a risk management, what is the risk management process, what are the entities involved in the risk management process, what is the difference between risk assessment and risk management, what is the difference between asset owner and asset custodian, and likewise we have covered all the topics. Thank you.